Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining our session on contract administration for private land development. We'll get started in a couple minutes. I'm just waiting for a few more people to log in. This session is recorded, and if you have questions, you can ask them in the chat window, and Andrew or Justin can answer those questions. And we'll hopefully have a couple minutes at the end of the session. I can answer questions directly. The session's recorded, so I can also send a link to your email address that you provided after the session, in case you wanted to send the link to other people in your organization. Okay. So with that, I think we'll get started. As usual, there's a lot of sort of specific content that I like to show anybody who comes to these sessions. So it's not really a training session, but it is sort of a deep dive on a lot of what we do around land development. So this is the agenda. Again, it's kind of full of a lot of various aspects of Builterra for land development. About, I don't know, maybe even 30% of our subscribers are only land development. We have obviously other disciplines like municipal civil engineering and subsurface utility, geotechnical. So there's lots of use cases for Builterra, but this is the ones that we're seeing most often used for land development. So I wanted to have a session specifically for that. For those who maybe know me, I spent a lot of my career in land development, so a lot of this sort of makes sense to anybody who's working in that every day. So first of all, we'll start with a little intro. Been around for about 11 years now, selling to public sector and private sector in Canada and the United States. Fully cloud-based in Microsoft Azure. Our main core product is construction contract administration. So everything from, bid preparation or tender preparation all the way through to the progress payments or pay apps, depending if you're an American logged in. The enhanced project management, we're not going to really look at that too much today, but this is also part of the Builterra platform and sort of rounds out the product around project management. So everything from approvals and document repository. If you have contractors, we've are allowing sort of contractors to join for free and access projects that you give them access to for RFIs and submittals. And so you can include everybody that's involved with the project. The mobile app is, as you probably know, if you use the product already, is very purpose-built. It's a data-driven data collection type product that allows for form configuration, release to the field. And you're going to see a lot of that in this session because we do go through a lot of case examples of forms that were configured for land development. The mapping scope is new. It's been out for a couple months now and we're still working on it. But you'll see a snippet of that near the end of the session. And it has a lot to do with land development. Actually, if you want to visualize those projects in the edge map, overlay the inspection data, or even edit asset data, we can do all of that now through the mapping scope. The cities who use it are numerous. For those in Canada, you'll recognize quite a few of these and more. A lot of large and small clients use us. The product, like I said, is used by various different disciplines within all of these organizations. So you might have a GHD using it for municipal work, a Crozier using it for land dev, Cambium for geotechnical, So lots of different use cases by all of these consultants. The digital pathway that we're going to look at today is numerous. In other words, lots of different people will access the Builterra platform depending on their role at the company. We'll look a little bit at the CAD designers, possibly preparing the bid. Okay, we talk about that at the start here. Obviously, mobile inspection and form data collection. The pay apps, we're just going to sort of briefly touch on that near the end as it relates to collecting data. And time permitting, we'll look at the mapping scope, which sort of shows a lot of this data being presented in the map. And so it's a full-blown product all the way from design to as-built. I always like to show the sort of what you see when you first log in, just to give you a sense of what the product looks like. And so when you get your access to the account, it's using your email address, and you'll have an email and a password. When you first log in, this is what you see. So this is sort of your very first view of the product. And depending on your projects and the project types, you would see different types of data. So you might see bidding, you might see progress payments, inspections. Depending on what your project is like, you'll see different types of data. Okay, so along the top here is the dashboarding system, and you'll see the mapping. So all of your projects will be in the map. The GIS overlay is available in case you want to visualize the project vectors and points on your phone. You'll have to add them as an overlay. So that's important for land dev. The dashboarding itself through the project. So when you select the individual project, you'll see dashboard is your very first scope here. And this is what, based on your login, you might see certain applications available to you. So in this case, I can see everything on the left-hand panel. So if you're doing land development projects, you might just see, say, for example, tenders or bids, possibly payment certificates if you're doing contract administration. If you're simply doing inspection work, maybe you'll only see inspections and documents. So depending on that role, you'll see different things here. The dashboarding itself, we kind of just are working on this budget and schedule piece right now. If you kind of click through these different options, you can see all the activity on the project. Budget and schedule are new. We have since put in a full-blown scheduling system, sort of like Microsoft Project Online, available now in Builterra. And so part of that is we can connect budget and schedule metrics. And these could be part of the awarded bid, or they could be outside of the bid, like, design costs or unrelated to construction costs, like sub-consultants, etc. So you can sort of start adding a full-blown project management Gantt chart to the system. And there's an example of something there. So we are working on this. If you have suggestions or want some special training, just call us and we'll go through it with you. It is available as part of the Pro product. So you'll see that schedules option should you have that role. Okay, so there's a quick summary. That's our last dashboard, and now let's get to it. I wanted to start off specifically in land development. When we first started building the product, land development was the first thing we did. We wanted to make it easy to create the schedule unit prices and a bid package for contractors. And so, although it's used by a lot of municipal clients, its origin started way back in land development. If we look at the catalog, this is sort of under the hood. I show most people who attend the webinars kind of what it looks like when you configure the system. And we help people do this. Usually we work with you, you'll send us spreadsheets, and we can kind of help build out these catalogs. This land development one is something that I built a couple of years ago. And so it's kind of a good cross section of all of the things that are in a project, and it's standardized so you can do cost estimating. And depending on the type of item, it might be more than just the item code and description. You might actually have material, diameter, class, and specifications attached. So there's lots of options to expand it. Because we're coming from the civil engineering industry, we've sort of made it almost like a GIS concept versus a lot of other systems are just item code and description. If we look at the pay item definition, this is sort of, we take a catalog, we can hook it to a specific pay item table that is built for, say, a project type. So in this case, this is for a subdivision type of project. So the circular pipe, in this case, for residential pay items, would have very specific attributes like starting manholes, ending manhole, maybe the street name, the depth of the pipe, maybe the soil type. So there's lots of things we can add to augment that description in the schedule unit prices or the bid tab. Now, the long description is very much like a civil 3D concept where we're adding attributes to a string description, and then this is how it would appear in the bid tab here. So it's very configurable. Site plans would have less properties maybe. And of course, municipal might have different properties. So depending on what type of project, you might have a different type of pay item definition. And of course, this is something we help people put together, and we would work with you on building out those configurations. Lastly, this is the sort of Excel bid tab or tender schedule unit prices definition. So the enumeration, how the tables and subtables look, the groupings. So this is how the Excel would be produced when we ultimately build that bid tab. So it's looking to a common catalog. It's using a pay item definition, and then ultimately the cost estimate can be configured without programming using all of the properties that you see here. So we can therefore query based on design properties, not just item code if we have to. So in this case, the sewer pipe is going to be using the diameter of the pipe, the material of the pipe, and an average. It'll use the depth field, in this case, say plus or minus half a meter or a meter. So you get a very accurate cost estimate for this type of template. Okay, so once this is all set up, we're ready to build out that tender. So again, keep in mind this is a land development type. So the examples are, in this case, a land development project. It's as easy as creating the bid or the tender. You can go ahead and create it, assign it the residential tender template here for land development. So you'd have your own templates and simply create. It creates an empty container of everything that's going to be in the bid schedule unit prices. And so once you have that starting point, now you can start building it through hitting the right pencil. So this is required when you want to do, say, bid preparation and sending it out to the contractors. So we'll go ahead and add items to the pay item tables. As you're adding quantities here, it's going to be running the cost estimate in real time against historic data. So that's a big part of the solution for an engineer's estimate. So you're dragging and dropping items. You can import from Excel. The cost estimate tab, like I said, is a great way to very quickly come up with the engineer's estimate based on past data. So be looking at all this information. It's going to be using, in this case, even the depth field to determine the pricing. The cost sharing is popular if you want to start splitting up those progress payments amounts based on who's paying what and the percentage of those items. So you can do a lot of cost sharing here when it comes to say the bid estimate or even progress payment. So lots of flexibility in preparing that schedule unit prices. The output, this is our generic sort of output to Excel. In this case, it has, this is, the engineer's estimate. And the summary page is really just a summary of all the subtabs here. And so if I pick on the details, it'll give me that, remember that written description. So we're putting all those pay item attributes to, and we're putting them together to create a single string. And this is how this person likes to see that string. You can group based on sewer type, diameter. So there's all kinds of grouping and sorting and enumeration that can happen as a configuration. The yellow fields are really in this case, the engineer's estimate. But if you're sending it out to a contractor, those yellow fields will be empty, and the spreadsheet will be have a password. So you can send it out with confidence. They would fill in those prices and send the spreadsheet back to you. And essentially you could check it back into the system to capture all of that unit pricing for the project. So we have a whole procedure for that. When they check the pricing back in, so in this case, we have 3 contractors that submitted pricing. They're really just sending the spreadsheet back to you. We do have a full-blown email system that will do this, but the reality is it's just really just checking in the spreadsheet, and it knows to how to compile it and be able to compare it. So you'll have your cost estimate lined up against the 3 imported bids, and you can also forgot to mention, you can also attach standard documents, contracts, reports as part of the entire bid package to the contractor when the time comes. So this would have been done when we sent out the schedule unit prices. So the whole thing is a database full of pricing, and that's how it does the estimating. If you want, you can compare those prices. It'll compare all of the sections here. And you can download all bids as one big spreadsheet, so you get all of that pricing lined up for every contractor. So it has a full system to compare. Once you like one of the bids, you can then award it. And the award means that it will automatically create a progress payment system for that particular bid. So then it's available on the cell phones for the inspectors. So it's a full-blown contract admin solution from bid preparation all the way through to the progress payment step, which we're going to talk about in a second. So that's the first stage of that graphic we showed with the bid preparation. In some cases, you might want to extract it directly from Civil 3D. So Design Connect is used for that. And basically, it allows you to configure the layers and the object types ahead of time. So CAD Manager would do that. And then when you query the layer and objects, it gives basically that's your pay item table right there within CAD. And you can see on the left-hand screen, this is your bid tab system here. So you've got everything shown. If it's highlighted, that means it's been pre-configured. So if you have a good CAD standard, you can extract all of that data directly into the cloud, and it'll do the estimating on the fly, and basically you'll see it right back in the design. So it's doing all of that data entry automatically. You can see that now in the left-hand panel. And again, if you need extra support, If you're already using Builterra, we can help the CAD manager set this up and get it running to work with. At the start, the pipe networks are the easiest thing to do. They are objects already, and the CAD people can't really change it very much. So as the design happens, they're going to be pipe objects and structure objects. So it's really the low-hanging fruit for building out these bid tabs from the design. So that's the Design Connect product right there. And yeah, if you want, we can have a meeting just on that. It's a pretty big training item. Okay, so that's your Civil 3D. Okay. Generating the cost estimate does exactly the same thing as the website. In other words, you'll click the Excel button within the CAD environment, and it'll produce the same spreadsheets that you get from the Builterra online portal. So there it is there. So you can kind of see your work. If you're changing your design, you'll see price changes here. So if you make something super deep and change the size, you'll see that cost impact. Okay. If you're reviewing the results online, I decided to show this just to sort of prove the point in case you were confused as to where the data was going. So under the bids, you can see there's the summary showing it, and now under the storm sewer table, this is all the data that came from Civil 3D right here. So nobody had to type that in. It all came from Civil 3D, and the estimate has already been generated. Great system for connecting design with Builterra. Even Autodesk doesn't have that. Okay, so that's the sort of first step in the land dev use case of Builterra. The mobile data collection system, we're going to sort of look through case examples of configuration, how to configure, like what that means, some of the examples, and we're going to look at it all the way from pre-construction, construction, post-construction. I kind of wanted to do a good cross-section here. I did include the geotechnical stuff. It might not be so relevant if you don't have a geotechnical group, but whenever you hire somebody to do geotechnical, maybe consider the use of Builterra. In other words, as the owner of Builterra, so some people on the call already have Builterra, I can see that. If you're hiring a geotechnical consultant, you have the right to say, okay, why don't you include them into the project? They can do all of their soil investigation, how the way they normally do it, but then they're simply going to type the logs in to Builterra, and you'll see that in a second. So the idea is to very quickly have the borehole logs and then be able to do something with them in real time. So this is the idea, is you're going to collect that data, and then you don't just get reports, we're also going to connect it up with CAD. And that's the big benefit of having it in Builterra. The mobile app looks pretty straightforward. This is sort of a review. You can log in, you see your projects. Very simplistic here. You pick on the form, documents, or tasks. The form itself, you'll see everything available to you. So if you hired a geotechnical consultant, they would simply see borehole log. Your internal people would see everything else, say health and safety or work site visits, etc. All of the documents that you post in Builterra documents repository are viewable here, and any tasks assigned are also shown here. So it's kind of a very simplistic app. You can view the PDFs, mark the PDFs up if you have to. The form itself, this is just a quick example of one of our subsite forms. Very data driven, as you can see. So when you select test hole data sheet, you create a new record with the big plus sign. You can get the weather through the location, put a title on it, and then ultimately you're just filling in questions. You're answering questions. You're saying, okay, what type of utility, this kind of thing. So the more you can add to a lookup list, the easier it is to do data collection. And so it doesn't take a lot of technical know-how to be able to fill in these answers to these questions. The pages on top can kind of keep things organized. So you'll fill in all this information. If you leave northing, easting, and ground blank, we can merge that with a survey point file afterwards. So that's how we do a lot of our as-builts. You'll do a proper GPS survey. You'll name the survey point or describe it the same as the form name, and then simply merge it afterwards. So then you'll get accurate data right from the survey, but it'll have all of these extra attributes from the Builterra system. So you can fill all this in and submit. So keep in mind that when the data is submitted, whether it's a borehole or a manhole or a test hole, it's basically on the cloud within seconds. For geotechnical, this sort of shows how we would configure a form. And keep in mind that you can do this yourself. You don't have to hire us to do that. The output is where you would have to hire us, and we would build output, custom reports or CAD drafting. And it's usually a one-time fee to help build those reports. The borehole log, this is a very, very complex form where you have a parent form here and then subforms or subtables. So you can see, if you think about a borehole log for land development, this covers everything you're going to need to do that data collection in the field. And so the parent form looks like this with all of the fields, including northing, easting, and elevation. Very important if you're looking to lay it out in CAD afterwards. There's the pages on top for this particular parent form. Okay, and then under the subtable, you'll have, again, it looks like just another form, but it's a subtable under the original parent. So this is kind of how it's all set up. And, it's not just land development projects that use this, it's municipal projects also use it, but it's very prevalent in land development to have these complex forms for borehole logs and granular compaction and other things. Okay, so basically you have all of the things that you need for the subtable, and then you're ready to go. Now those are big, big screens there. Essentially, when you click on the borehole log here, okay, there it is. You'll have maybe some preset locations. These are the parent forms we talked about. You can even upload them with Excel and then simply edit them. So there's lots of opportunity to edit it like an asset. You'll have a map of where it is with a GIS overlay. Okay. This is where you get to fill in all the questions for the parent form. So you'll sort of fill all this in and simply update or submit. So again, it's data driven. Under the sub inspections, these are the subtables we saw on the configuration screen, and you'll pick what you want to add. In this case, say the strata here. So when you pick on strata right there, you'll start adding a row of data. So consider it like Excel. You're just adding a row of information, and you'll fill it all in and submit or update. So this is it. This is the single form that adds the strata. So you can do this with a cell phone or a tablet in the field, sitting in a truck. You can use a laptop as well. You don't have to use a mobile app if you don't need to. You can use it offline and then submit when you get on Wi-Fi. So that's it. You're filling in the borehole data, and when you hit update, it's building those logs in real time. Okay. So other things like samples for the end value, penetration is here. Any lab data can also be left blank, and then the laboratory text can fill that in. So this is, again, might not be applicable to your company, but think about it when next time you receive the geotechnical report. Photos can be added, of course, anywhere. And so here's the good part is when you preview the report, there's under the action menu here, I didn't show it, but there's a preview PDF report. If you're online, you have to be online to do this. It'll actually render the report and then serve it up to you. And in this case, it's rendered the report fully as a borehole log using the cell phone data. And keep in mind that it's not just rendering the report, it's got all of the data in the database already. And, you know, it's ready for plotting in AutoCAD even. If you're in the field, or sorry, in the office, you'll see all of those borehole pieces coming up. You'll see them in a map. There's a good example of an overlay, GIS overlay. And so everything is in real time. So some people might buy Open Ground for this, Bentley Open Ground. But Bentley Open Ground only does this. It doesn't do construction. It doesn't do everything else that Builterra does. So we've kind of taken all of the pieces of different systems and made sure Builterra does it all. And so that's the borehole mapping system. There's the data. When I click on the tabs down below, it represents the tabs you saw on the mobile app. They're in photos, okay? There's the log. So this is actually running an AutoCAD virtual server that produces it in AutoCAD, and you get a PDF and a DWG as the result of entering the data. It does it in real time. You can use ad hoc reporting to build out Excel reports. And this is a good example of just give me all my borehole data as a spreadsheet. Okay, because it's a database, we can query it and build it out. The generating the borehole log, this is an example of sort of how you would log in directly to the cloud, pick the boreholes you want, and then generate the log. So this is something that was built years ago, and it still works. We just have it running on the server now. So just like that, it's pulling data from the cloud. There's no ASCII files, nothing. Okay. So when you work with us, we would help build out these customizations with you. The section plot is the same idea. It's basically you're picking boreholes that you want to add to, say, a fence diagram. So because it has the data, we can produce these quite quickly in CAD. Okay, and there it is there. So it would we would style it as per your requirements if you wanted to do something like that. So you can see the benefit of having data in a cloud for land development projects. We can start projecting boreholes to the plan. These are just examples. We'll get through the other samples in a second. And so you can literally put Civil 3D points or blocks into the plan view coming from the Builterra mapping system. And so there they are. And they have a little bit of information on them that allows us to now project them into the profile view. So this is all connected with the Civil 3D system. And so when you pick profile plot here, you'll be able to literally project that to the profile view. So if you're using Civil 3D, alignments and profile views, that's it. You just grab the boreholes. It has an inspection ID attached to it, and you project the strata and values to the road alignment in this case. Okay, so we build out these extensions custom for companies based on their requirements. And there it is. So that's the profile view showing the profile plot of all of the boreholes. So I wanted to show it to the land development clients just in case you wanted to start thinking about this for your next project. Okay. The daily site visits with contract quantities is where we hook up the form system with the daily diary. So when you pick daily diary, again, these are complex parent and child relationship tables. You'll have parent information. You'll have labor equipment. In this case, we have data collection templates, which you can specify labor and equipment here. Okay, so if you don't need to do daily progress, then maybe it's not so important, but certainly accessing the quantities might be of interest. You can add all the observations throughout the day instead of at the end of the day taking pictures and building a Word document. All of the observations are like little text messages that get submitted to the server with the attached photos, and they go into the report. Okay, so it's this would be certainly of interest to anybody doing site visit reports, just random picture observations. The daily quantities subtable here as part of the site visit has a subtable that links to the awarded bid. So the bid tab comes up in a sort of tree view as you can keep selecting, fitting to the items. You'll see how much is in the contract, how much has been built. So this is very popular for our municipal clients and anybody in land development doing daily or weekly quantity collecting all this information plus photos, and ultimately you'll see it online. Everything we do in the mobile app appears online, and there's an example there. With photos, the output can be completely custom to meet your company standard. So in this case, this is very specific to Toronto Water. This is very specific to another company. So depending on what your needs are, we customize the output. And that's how you can deliver the same type of reporting you currently do in Word using the mobile app. Metadata reporting is really just a query of the database that produces spreadsheets the way people are doing them manually right now. So that's a good example of quantities for streets split by day. It's a database query. The erosion sediment control reporting is a little simpler. It has a very simple system. It's only got one form, one table system with different pages. And these pages are just really to keep the application easy to use in the field. There it is there. So when you select on, say, check dam, you only get the check dam questions here. And a lot of times just yes, no, in a long string. And then you'll collect all the data with the mobile app for every time after it rains. For the actual app itself, you'll see the monitoring, okay, erosion sediment control. You'll see some forms that were passed in the past that were done. You can create a brand new one or update an existing one. All of the questions can be answered based on the up top here. You see all of these pages. So depending on what page you're looking to update, you'll select it and then update it. Ultimately, you get to answer these questions and then add some photos. So the photos themselves come from either taking the picture or from your gallery. You can caption the photos. They're all independently geotagged as well, these photos. Then when you review the report, it comes out in the style in which you have got us to program for you. So all of that reporting can be done instantly from the field. You can mark up PDFs as well with photo locations, just say, photo 1, photo 2, kind of like a Bluebeam concept where you just put in text in a red dot or something on a PDF, like a site plan. In the office, you'll see all of the data geolocated on the site, and you can see how all of the tabs are now relative to the sediment control report. There they are. So on the side here, in this particular account, you see I have access to 3 types of inspection forms. So that's all configured forms with custom reports. There's some custom reports here. Okay, there's another one. So it's the same kind of data entry with a different output. Okay, which we help people deliver. The as-built structures. So when you're doing, post-construction manhole or catch basin inspections, I built out a sort of the same thing as the erosion sediment control, where it's a very simplistic paged-based system. So you have pages on top and a location page here. And so you can see the attributes here with a northing easting elevation available for point survey merge. And so the concept is that the surveyors will shoot the rim of the manhole, and you will then go pipe to pipe. And if we take a look at that in a second here, you'll see what the available options are. So the structure data is your as-built inspection. You'll name the manhole the same as the point description in the survey so that you can merge it afterwards. You'll see a map here, okay? If you have an overlay, it would appear as well. You'll fill in the questions, or you'll answer the questions here. And when you select the pipe 1, you could say north pipe, south pipe, east pipe, west pipe, or you could just fill it in and then you give it the direction. This is coming from the north. It's coming in, okay? The invert elevation, just leave it blank because it's a calculated field using the depth less the rim. So some of them will be calculated fields. And then there's a pipe 1 connection to structure. This is an option we put in for a client where it would join the 2 dots and build out a pipe network. So you can type all this information in, and then pipe number 2, you'll do the same thing, and that's it. So when you submit, it's got everything it needs for that manhole. And you'll maybe take some pictures if you want, and then when you preview the report, it's right here. So you can preview it right away on that individual manhole. That's a custom report done for this particular form. In the office, all of the structures are now, appearing. You can imagine you're a project manager, you're seeing all of this information. These are all the as-builts. And so in the map itself, you'll see all of the pins in the map. And then down below, you'll see all of the location data merged with survey in this case. And then all of the pipe data appears with the photos as well. Now this is in the mapping scope. We probably won't have time for that today, but all of the shapefiles are preloaded and then it's overlaid with the inspection data. In this case, the photos is right here. So if you keep zooming in, you'll be able to see all these green photos for those assets. Okay, so that's a whole separate webinar. The export looks something like this. This is just raw data that you might need afterwards, and it has all of the pipe data in it. More of a custom report, again, we saw that in the mobile app, looks like this. And sometimes you can get even custom like this. So we did this for a client very specifically, and this was done for a client. So that benching look, it has, if you think about the form I just showed you, it has all of that information we need. The manhole number, name, the rim, sump depth, all of this information is collected in the cell phone and then outputted as an AutoCAD and a PDF. And there's a catch basin version of it there. So we would work with you on that kind of specific output. This is another extension we built specifically for as-builts. It produces blocks with flow arrows and MTEX with quick leaders. So this is specific to that customer, and it produces literally a CAD plot of that. The lot grading deficiency system, I think by now you're getting the feel of how this land development forms are being put together and how flexible it is under one system. So for land grading and lot grading inspection, sorry, this is just a simple questionnaire and no pages, no subtables, nothing. It's just basically a flat table and with variables and lookup lists. And on the system, you'll see how it looks. So all of the lots are here. You could preload them and just simply edit them, or you can just click on the plus symbol and pick what lot number it is. So get location will be a GPS location of where you're standing. Okay, you get the weather for the day, etc. And then under details, a single page, you just kind of type in everything you need here. And this is more or less a spreadsheet concept, but you can get it started here in the field. And then ultimately you'll be editing it probably online as things progress with that lot grading. So all of the system is collecting the data. You can add the photos, of course. If you view PDF report, that's the only screen that shows it under the action menu here. This is kind of what you get with a lot grading pictures and map. Okay. In the office, you'll start to see all of the lot data appearing. These columns can be configured using columns here, in case you want to see, certain questions in the grid. All of the map data, this is showing every lot with the photos, and then any details will be shown as well. So after you do the initial collection, you might want to start using the web platform to continue on with editing the answers. That's just an example of a report. And this is a metadata report that was created for a client. So they would take individual streets, so street name might be a variable, and then each tab has all of the lots, and then all of the questions are being answered on the Builterra system. So basically this is, instead of building a spreadsheet that sits on a hard drive somewhere, it's all done online, and it's all, in this case, split by street name. You could even split it by deficiency type. I mean, you could do anything you want once it's in the database. That's another one there. So City of Vaughan, pretty much every municipal client we have has some kind of deficiency list or, something like this. So lots of different examples. Tracking the progress, we take a step backwards and look at the site visit reporting with access to quantities. You can basically build a quantities tracking system. Remember when we awarded the bid, the progress payment system became active, and then essentially we can go ahead and create a pay app or a payment certificate by specifying dates. And then within those dates, it compiles all of the inspections that we previously did. So all of those quantities that we collected in the past are now shown here. And so it gives us the ability to monitor those. In this particular case, you can drill down to the individual item and you can see the amount this period, and click on details and it shows you the actual inspections that contributed to it. So it's a full-blown progress payment system with change orders. The output for the progress payment or the pay app is in Excel. And so the summary cover page, this is our out of box. You can again ask us to customize this. The tabs should be reflective of the bid tab. And so you'll see the details for that, say the water main that we just looked at. So anything this period highlights in yellow. And so the mobile app is actually completely sending these quantities to the payment system. And you can, if you're in land dev, maybe you only do it once a month. You could just sit down with Builterra and type them in through the progress payment system. Maybe you don't want to use the inspection app. So there's ways to just do it using the cloud system. The progress system as I explained here, is pushing these quantities. So it's also pushing these little gas gauges for progress. So you can see right away when something is over, and when you click details, it shows you all of the inspection work that was done to contribute to that quantity. So all of the payment certificates and change orders are down here. So it's fully visible to the project manager without looking through hard drive and Excel spreadsheets. The mapping scope, it won't take a minute to go through this. This is something that we're sort of looking at for land development. It's a full-blown GIS visualization of the project and combined with the inspection system. And the reason why we did it is we wanted a sort of a 1-2 step between collecting the data in the map and then pushing it to the tender or the bid. Design Connect, which you saw earlier, goes directly from CAD to the bid. And some people weren't comfortable with that, so that this is sort of a visual method of looking at the information and then sending it to the bid. So publishing the assets directly to Builterra is done. We have a mapping tool that does that. So when you subscribe to Builterra, you get all these tools as part of the package. And so you can, in this case, we're uploading alignments and pipe networks to the project. And it's literally pushing the data directly to the cloud without the use of shapefiles. Yep, so there it is. So it's processing it. So this is in real time. It takes a second, but it's pushing out all of these items directly to the mapping system. And then from there, we'll take it directly to the bid. So that's kind of what we're working towards right now. So there it is in the mapping system. You've got all your polygons, anything you want quantities from can be pushed through that mapping system. And there it is. So that's coming from Civil 3D Direct. The water mains probably are polylines, as well as the services, and the trees are probably blocks. So it's a great way to show your project progress to the project managers. They can see all that without opening CAD. Okay. The mapping, there's the pop-up. Okay, so you can select items and you get all that data. You can review inspection data within the mapping scope. There it is there, photos, etc. And ultimately, you want to link it to the inspection. So what's going on here is you can select an item or an entire layer, and if you go link to inspection, basically you're linking that layer in the mapping system to this bid table here. And so you're pushing all of this data directly into the bid table. And that's the result. So it'll go all the way from mapping, you're happy, into the storm sewer table. And that's kind of where we want to go, is be able to start linking it directly and then have the inspection data, really show the progress complete of every one of those mapping items. Now I do have time if you want to text any questions in. You could email them to Andrew as well, or we can get back to you on anything that you've seen today. I know it was a little bit of a quick presentation as usual. Lots of content. But I'm happy to show you more if you wanted to do a one-on-one session some other time. I hope for those in land development, you got something out of this. And if you currently use Builterra, certainly ask us for more training or whatever. Otherwise, we can probably end the session now. And thanks for coming.
Jeff?
Yeah, I see that question.
Okay,
Used for
great.
earthworks. Yeah, yeah. Um, or stockpile movements, etc. So we don't have MDT, for example. What is MDP? I don't know. But yeah, we could use the mobile app actually has a way to draw line work, like asset polygons, and you could actually just walk around piles and they would appear in the map. Potentially, you could date those piles and turn them on and off if you wanted to. I don't know if that helps you. Um, you could do the inspection of a pile, and again, um, maybe survey it and have it show the points. I don't know if you want, you could do that. So now, if you actually want earthworks cut fill calcs, we do have a separate product that does that under Civil 3D, but you probably don't need that. Maybe just email me your questions if you want, and we can get on a call later. Spell that right. Yep. Yep. Thanks, Zeta.